All right, friends, we are live. It's Monday. It's April 19th, and, likely if you're listening to this broadcast, you have experienced a very nice day today. It was spectacular. Gorgeous day for this part of Western New York, certainly. Let's take a look outside right now. Just watched a beautiful sunset. Temperatures today, Western New York, somewhere in the 60 to 70 degree range, depending on your exact location. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And we continue to experience the fantastic weather. But now we're seeing the winds of change, unfortunately. And as we've talked about for a few days, there will be snow and there will be cold in our future. We've got not just freeze advisories, but freeze warnings are being issued. Winter weather advisories have been issued. I'm curious as to whether winter storm watches or warnings will also be issued for parts of the region. This is going to affect areas from the plains all the way through the middle Mississippi River Valley, the Ohio River Valley, eastern Great Lakes, western New York, much of interior New England. Could be looking at significant snowfall. Not for everybody, but parts of these regions could be looking at significant heavy wet snow. And that is going to be followed by temperatures that are going to be sub-freezing. And now we've got things in bloom. And you can see where this is going to go. It could cause some problems. So we're going to talk about that during this broadcast. It's 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central. Our goal here is about 10, 12 minutes. And we'll be able to jump right on into what's happening out there. We'll start you right now with a live look at radar. And things are pretty quiet, but we are seeing the changes that are already occurring. We hit a high in Rochester. I believe it was 63, 64 degrees earlier. It's 61 now. Nice. Again, it's so pretty outside. You wouldn't expect that there were any problems on the way, but it's still springtime, so it's not over till it's over. And immediately to the west, we've got rain falling in Erie, 57. You're in between showers in Cleveland at 61. And then you make your way out towards Detroit. Oh, there's a problem there. It's 46 degrees outside. Temperature really falls quickly as you head off to the west. It's very evident where that frontal system is located. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Again, that band of precipitation, much warmer air out ahead of the front, much colder air behind it to the tune of 30s, making their way across the upper Midwest. Keep in mind, we're close to peak heating or just past it. And despite the fact that it is April 19th, the temperature, look at this, Marquette, Michigan, 27 degrees. With lake effect snow. That's lake effect snow moving across portions of the UP of Michigan. It's impressive. It's late season. It does happen. So this is not end of the world, but it is rare to get that much cold over Lake Superior this time of the year. And this is ahead of the main storm. So we've got cold that's coming out. I've got and we'll focus on some of these areas, these counties that have been colored by the National Weather Service. Freeze warnings have been issued from western Michigan to western Ohio, much of Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. Freeze warnings. And then you head to the south, we've got freeze watch. And what's this? What is this that I see? Oh my. Winter weather advisories issued from Columbia, Missouri through Kansas City, much of Kansas, and here it is. There's our developing system. Area of low pressure, wave of low pressure making its way across the Rockies right now. Now the good news is that there's no threat of severe weather. I guess that's one pro. When things get really cold, no chance of severe weather. Latest coming in from the Storm Prediction Center. And Storm Prediction Center says, yeah, no risk of severe weather. Well, that's one good news. But I think many people would probably give up that, they take maybe a small risk of severe if they could just have some nice weather. Nice weather. It was today. Tomorrow we begin to see the changes across the Ohio River Valley and for much of the eastern United States. Going to jump into some weather models next. Going to show you where the snow is going to fall, when we'll see a changeover from rain to snow. And then we'll talk about snowfall amounts. I think many people see accumulating snowfall here. Before we do that, though, do want to take a couple of comments here. We've got Janice Briggs, Steve Schultz. We've got Robin. We've got Brett Davis, Janice, Mike Conklin on. Thanks for being on, and Barb Kerr. Appreciate you guys being on. If you don't mind a quick thumbs up, as always, it's appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Share if you haven't already. Again, beautiful weather out there, so you wouldn't suspect that anything would be up, but it's coming. Cold front making its way through portions of the Midwest right now. That's going to plow through. Let's take a look at the satellite perspective here. And you can clearly see that we are looking at quite a bit of jet stream wind energy. And yeah, that's also very evident as well. Taking a look at the jet stream. Take a look at the pattern that's unfolding right now. And wait a minute, that's not a jet stream. Oh, there it is. It just took a second for my system. Realize what I was up to. Okay. So closing in on the current jet stream pattern, we've got a split flow. So there's not one but two branches of the jet stream right now. You got the southern branch located right here, and then you've got this northern branch. And this time of the year, that northern branch, that's where the good is at. That's where the cold. And if you can get these two to kind of come together, you can phase yourself into a pretty decent system. And that's what we're going to do. Pretty decent system for this time of the year. So the system is forming. Snow is already beginning across portions of the Rockies. You can see that back over here. Again, snow beginning out there towards Denver, Colorado. Denver, by the way, 29. Snow moderately heavy at times. A quarter-mile visibility being reported right now. And up here, we've got winter storm warnings near Fort Collins. You go just east of Denver into the foothills. It's going to get heavy quick. And all this is going to move right down the pipeline, and then eventually we're going to watch it as it makes its way into portions of the Great Lakes and the Northeast. Let's put this in motion for you. Let's take a look at the broader picture. And then we'll get to snowfall amounts, and then we'll talk about the cold. So this is the European forecast model from earlier today, and it is bringing a period of heavy snow. Okay, it's not a little light snow. It'll be a burst. Heavy snow. Moderately heavy across the plains as it makes its way through Missouri. It kind of peters out. Because it's going to reform as it approaches the Appalachians. And then it really gets going for Ohio, portions of northwestern Pennsylvania, New York, and into interior New England. I'll let that loop one more time, and then we'll take a close-up look at some of that. So there it is. It's going to drop some snow across the Midwest, the plains, and then it really kind of gets cranking a little bit across New York State. Yeah, my friends in New York, they're going to hate me. Is John Joseph on here? John Joseph Colasaco of Kingdom Proprietors? Is he on here? I don't see him. Because he just took his snowplow off. He removed the what are they called? The little markers you put on the edges of the lawns so you don't plow into their property. He took those down, and now he's going to be upset with himself. I'm not joking, Joe. You may have to put the plow back on. I'm just saying. There's Jim Perry, the professor in the house. Wait, we're talking about they grow in the woods. Are we talking about mushrooms at this point? All right, I've got to get back on task. Jim, I don't think that... Will the mushrooms be hurt by this? It's snow. Yeah, it's probably not going to be good for them. Let's be honest. All right, so there's the big picture. Let's take a close-up look at the Ohio River Valley first. And then we'll talk about when to expect that changeover and then how much snow. So here's a close-up look. Ohio River Valley, Indiana, Ohio, southern Michigan, Kentucky. Look at that. That's heavy snowfall Tuesday night. I'm going to let that loop and let me let my eyes train. So we're trying to get the timing for this here. So Tuesday during the day, you got a front to the north, and then it's in the evening for Indiana. It's overnight for Ohio, and then it moves off to the east. And in a moment, I'll take a look at a high-res model, and I'll give you very specific timing. I said this is going to be 10 to 12 minutes. I've already lied. It's going to be longer. Maybe 15 or 20. Okay. I'm getting through it as quickly as I can. All right, here we go. New York. This is early Wednesday morning and Wednesday during the day. European forecast model you're looking at here. And then you're fine. You head on into your Friday. No problems. You'll have a chance to melt it back off after a very cold start Friday morning. So Friday in the morning does look particularly cold. Temperatures will be below average for, well below average for this time of the year. All right, so let's take a look at projected totals. And I'll tell you what, before we get to totals, let's go into exact timing. I'm going to take a look at the new run of the high-res NAM. I'm not in love with its placement, but I don't think it's too far off. So here we go. Okay, and see if I can center this a little better for you. Well, we'll make this work. All right, so tonight, rain, just rain, northern Indiana, northern Ohio. Moves into western New York around midnight for Rochester and Buffalo. And you'll see the rain again. That's the front. Temperatures will tumble with that. And then that front kind of waves out. It's waiting on the next wave. And here it comes. You got snow moving in towards Chicago by morning tomorrow. So about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning begins to snow in Chicago. Wet snow. Look at that wet snow making its way towards Indianapolis tomorrow, 4 p.m. 4 p.m. You're going to be rain during the afternoon, maybe more like 5. That's going to be a very tight gradient there for, say, Indianapolis. And then, now this particular model, I think it's pushing the low a little bit too far north. So I think we see the snow further south than shown here. It does bring snow all the way south into Kentucky, southern Indiana, and even far northern Tennessee could see flakes. I don't think you'll see accumulation there. So I'm going to pause it right here. Well, wait, this is midnight. Oops, sorry. This is midnight tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Let's fast forward in time. And we pause it right here. This is 8 a.m. Wednesday. So we're going to get a little bit of wind, lots of cold coming in behind this system across Ohio. Again, areas of locally heavy snowfall, depending on where that low exactly tracks. And then it makes its way up into the PA New York line. We'll pause it right here. This is Wednesday morning at about 9 or 10 o'clock. That would be heavy snowfall for Rochester. And then you see it, some lake enhancement, maybe some lake effect coming in behind it. So it's a complex system. A lot of moving parts here. But at the end of the day, this is it's pretty legit. It's a pretty legit little compact. It's not huge, but it's compact. It'll bring a burst of snow. And again, accumulations. And I think they're going to be heavy enough in some cases that we may be looking at some issues with some tree branches, some limbs coming down, because it's going to have a dense nature to it. And keep in mind that now we have some foliage. Parts of the region has a lot of foliage. And so with that, that heavy wet nature of the snow, anywhere you get several inches, I'm talking, 4, 5, 6 inches or more, it could begin to bring down some tree limbs, and I think that could bring some problems. All right, here's the European forecast model. How much snow? I think this has got the best handle on the system. But you can see an inch down here near the Ohio River. Going to be on grassy, elevated surfaces. No travel problems across the South, Kentucky. Most of Indiana is going to be fine. However, you hit along or north of 70, Interstate 70, say between Indianapolis and Columbus, and then I'm going to box this area here. It includes Cleveland, maybe the hot spot. I think locally you're looking at a half foot, and that's enough to cause some issues for this time of the year. Again, Weather Service, they're not issuing anything yet. They will issue advisories at the minimum. I'm curious if they go ahead and they pull the trigger on like a winter storm watch for parts of the region. It's possible. Let's take a look into New York State. And again, we're looking at the European forecast model, New York State. Oh, Joey. Is he on here yet? John Joseph Colasaco. You're going to have to put your plow back on your truck. If this is right, you're going to need your plow. We're still dialing it in. This could be a little overestimated. As we have seen, models have overestimated all season. Okay, so I'm not gonna push this too hard. However, it's usually the one that you're like, okay, I'm going to downplay it. Then Mother Nature, plays a prank on you. So, but you see the numbers. These are legitimate, and this is the European forecast model. There are models that are higher than this. I'm using this one. I think it's typically the most reliable. It hasn't been this year, but we're going to try again. This whole region of Western New York could see 6+. You make your way out there towards the, the Chautauqua Ridge. You could be looking at 8, 10, something like that. That's enough to cause some problems. And then northern Adirondacks, North Country, big snow. Northern Vermont, New Hampshire, big snow as well. Okay, so that's the European forecast model. Let's come on over here and take a look at the GFS. Because believe it or not, the Europeans actually not much compared to the GFS. It's much higher. I think this is overplayed. I don't think you end up with 10 inches in Rochester, okay? I don't. Now, could you end up with 6? I think so. I'm not calling it. I'm not calling it. This is tricky late season stuff, but I will say I would put you in the range, and I don't have time to make a snowfall map because we've got some stuff going on, some life change. Check out our Patreon account if you want to know what's happening with Lisa and the gang. It's patreon.com/WxLIVE. But, wow, yeah, better hope the GFS is not right, because that would cause a lot of problems. That would be trees down, and that would be power out for a lot, because it's a heavy, heavy, wet snow, very dense in nature. And I'm curious. I'm curious for a moment. And I'm blowing right past all the time frames that I said. I'm going to take questions in just a moment, because we still want to talk about what the temperatures are going to do. So I'm going to pull that into the system now. We're going to go with temperatures and just how cold they could go. So as I'm pulling that in, let's see if we have any questions or comments. Again, we're taking a look at snowfall projections. This is the GFS. It's an over projection, probably by a magnitude. So don't get too hung up on these numbers here. But for those that are back across the Ohio Valley, if you're curious, it brings 2 inches down to the Ohio River. I think that's probably an overestimate. I think you're talking about a dusting, maybe an inch on grassy and elevated surfaces at this point. With that being said, let's take a couple questions, comments, and then we'll take a brief look at some of these temperatures that are heading our way. If you have cold-sensitive plants outside, you're going to have to bring them in or cover them up. Freeze warnings, as mentioned, and freeze watches have been issued for many. Janice, what about the Finger Lakes? Again, the whole region, and I think especially if you get a little ways away from Lake Ontario, and you get into a little bit of elevation across the Finger Lakes, Janice, or the southern tier, could be looking at several inches of heavy wet snow. I would say 3 to 6 easy, 4 to 8 possible. So I think that's reasonable for you guys. 3 to 6, I would say right now. Possibly upgrading that. All right, so I'm bringing in temperatures into the system. We're going to go with the European forecast model, and I want to know how low the temperatures will go. So late season snow, the good news about April snow is that it doesn't stick around very long. We've got warm ground temperatures, so even though it's going to fall heavy enough to cause some problems and cover things up, it won't stick around because the warm ground temperatures, and then of course temperatures will rebound behind it. So we're going to have to deal with it, but just for a little while. Let's talk about how cold those temperatures could get. Let's go back over to the system, take a look at that, and we'll finish up with some comments as well. Barbara, so no announcement for us. I want you to come on over to patreon.com/WxLive. Patreon.com/WxLive. The announcement has been made, and it's on there. And I know, everybody wants their stuff for free, but we can't. We've got to monetize a little bit if we're expecting to keep the lights on. So it'll become public in a matter of days. But an announcement has been made. Patreon.com. Come on over. We'd love to have you. All right, let's take a look at these temperatures. Well, I'll start you across the Ohio River Valley. Here we go. So temperatures by late Tuesday plummeting. Look at the 60s across Kentucky. And then look how cold it gets during the overnight. So behind the system, you wake up in Louisville. Maybe you're okay at 35. 35 is what it's showing there in Louisville, Kentucky. This will be Wednesday morning. But look at Indianapolis. 27, 28 degrees. That's freeze warning. It's coming. Yeah, that cold air extends across Ohio with 20s across all of Michigan. Yeah, upper Michigan. Good grief. Low 20s, even some teens into the UP. Really, really cold stuff for this time of the year. So if you've got, one of those Japanese maples, maybe an ornamental tree that's in bloom, the foliage is coming out, you got to protect it. And those they just don't do well with this type of cold. Taking a look across the great state of Ohio, you're going to be okay Wednesday morning, but I want to fast forward because I'm curious what's going to happen Thursday morning for you guys. There it is. Oh gosh, Thursday morning. Take a look at that. Those are teens. Teens. Right here. Northern Central Ohio, Columbus 27, Cleveland 25. That's a killer freeze. Killer freeze. And I know things are in bloom, so that's not good. Let's talk about New York. How cold is it going to get in New York? Rochester, you're protected by that lake, but if you're south of Rochester, it's going to get cold fast. So this is Thursday morning. And even in Rochester, Thursday morning, you're talking about upper 20s. Up here along the lake, it's going to be close to freezing, so not that bad. But you get down here in the southern tier, Finger Lakes. You make your way out towards the Catskills, 20s, widespread. Same thing with the Adirondacks, 20s, widespread. That's Thursday morning. Temperatures will improve some during the day Thursday, but then Thursday night, Friday morning, we're going to see a more cold, but just not quite as cold. It's the worst of it for New York coming up Thursday morning. All right, I blew way past my time. I said 10 to 12. Now we're going on 20 minutes. Sorry about that. But let's finish up with some questions and comments, and then we'll wrap this one up. Right now, by the way, it's 57 degrees in Rochester. It's 8:20 Eastern Time. It's 7:20 Central Time. Thanks for being on here. Keep the likes and shares going. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so. And be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you know the next time we're on. And there's John Joseph Colasaco. He says, I put the brackets back on my truck. So, okay, so Joey's getting ready. Does that mean it doesn't snow then? Okay, because it's usually the opposite. Joey takes the plow off, and then comes the snow. He puts the plow on. It doesn't snow. Joey, good to see you on here. Hope you're doing well, buddy. All right, but there you go. Thanks for being on here. Again, winter, a late season. I'm not going to call it a winter storm, even though it may reach winter storm criteria for some. I'm going to call it a late season snow event. And obviously some late season cold on the way as well. Final look at radar right now. And there you go. We've got the showers approaching western New York. And then the purple areas, that's freeze warnings. They're going to extend that all through all central and northern Ohio. They're going to extend that probably into western New York, northwestern PA. That's a freeze warning. The question is, do they put you underneath a winter weather advisory as well? There are winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings across portions of the Rockies, the High Plains, Central Plains. That'll be extended. There will be winter weather advisories. There's no doubt. The question is, will they issue winter storm watches or warnings? We'll see. Only time will tell. All right. Thanks for being on here. We appreciate you guys. Lisa and I will, again, we have an announcement up on Patreon if you'd like to know what's coming next in our crazy world. I think it's very exciting news. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you'll find out about it here in a few days. All right, so that's there. Thanks for being on here. You guys have a great night. We won't have a regular Facebook show tomorrow, but we will have, again, the news coming up later in the week, and we will provide some coverage of this winter storm as it approaches, and we might just be live and on location. All right, guys, be good, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.